Why do we have body parts that seem completely useless? The appendix, the pinky toe, wisdom teeth, even goosebumps. Think about it. Your body is carrying around features that either don't seem to do anything or, worse, actually cause problems. They hurt. They get infected. They make life more complicated. So why are they still here? Imagine your ancestors, tens of thousands of years ago. They needed every advantage they could get: a bigger jaw to chew raw plants and meat, a tail for balance, hair that could stand on end to scare off predators. Back then, these things meant survival. But fast forward to today, and we're left with strange reminders of that past. The appendix? It used to help break down tough, fibrous plants, but now it's mostly a ticking time bomb for appendicitis. Wisdom teeth? Once essential for chewing a rough diet, now they crowd our jaws and end up yanked out by dentists. Goosebumps? They once made our ancestors look bigger and warmer, but today they're nothing more than a chill on your skin when you're scared, cold, or listening to a powerful song. Here's the real mystery. If these parts are so useless, why haven't they disappeared? Evolution is supposed to shape us into better, stronger, smarter beings. So why is it still dragging along these leftovers from the past? The answer tells us something fascinating about how evolution really works, and why our bodies are filled with ancient secrets. So what exactly are these so-called useless body parts? Scientists have a name for them: vestigial organs. They're features we've inherited from our ancestors that have lost most, if not all, of their original function. Picture them like evolutionary souvenirs, leftovers from a time when survival demanded a very different body than the one we live in today. Think of vestigial parts like old apps on your phone. You don't open them. You don't really need them, but they're still installed, taking up space. Evolution doesn't work like a programmer who deletes outdated code. It works more like a tinkerer who keeps adding new features on top of old ones. The result? We get strange little relics of the past that still ride along in our DNA. And humans aren't alone in this. The natural world is full of examples. Whales, despite living entirely in the ocean, still carry tiny hip bones, the skeletal remnants of ancestors that once walked on land. Ostriches and emus have wings but can't fly. Even snakes carry little vestiges of legs buried deep in their skeletons. Evolution doesn't erase with a clean sweep. It leaves footprints, scars, and clues. Now turn that lens back on us. Our bodies are packed with these kinds of artifacts. The appendix, a small pouch off the intestine, once helped us digest fibrous plants. Today, most of us never notice it until it gets inflamed and sends us rushing to the emergency room. The coccyx, better known as the tailbone, is exactly what it sounds like: the leftover stump of a tail that our primate ancestors used for balance. Then there are the muscles around our ears. Some animals can pivot their ears like radar dishes to detect the faintest sound. In humans, they're still there, but most of us can't move them at all. At best, you might know someone who can wiggle their ears as a party trick, and that's just the beginning. Think about goosebumps, the tiny bumps that pop up on your arms when you're cold or scared. For our ancestors covered in thicker body hair, those bumps made the hair stand up, trapping warmth or making them appear larger to predators. Today, they're reduced to nothing more than a chill on your skin or a shiver during an emotional moment. Even our wisdom teeth are part of this story. Once essential for grinding down roots and raw meat, they've become a dental nightmare because our modern jaws are smaller and our diets far softer. These features may look pointless now, but they're not random mistakes. They're fossils written into flesh. Every vestigial part is like a living reminder that our bodies weren't designed from scratch. They were shaped by the pressures of survival over millions of years, patched together, adapted, and repurposed. And if you know where to look, you can read that history written right into yourself. But here's the big question. If these body parts are outdated, why hasn't evolution just gotten rid of them? Shouldn't we be leaner, sleeker, more efficient by now? The truth is, evolution doesn't work like a careful engineer. It doesn't delete old code just because it's unnecessary. Evolution is about survival, not perfection. As long as a body part isn't actively killing us, there's little pressure for it to disappear. That's why things like wisdom teeth or the appendix are still sticking around. They might cause problems sometimes, but not enough to wipe us out as a species. In other words, evolution's motto is good enough. And here's something fascinating. These parts aren't frozen in time. They're slowly fading. More and more people today are born without wisdom teeth at all. Some scientists believe that, thousands of years from now, humans may lose them completely. It's evolution in action, happening right under our noses. So while it might seem frustrating that we're dragging around these ancient leftovers, they're actually proof that evolution is still shaping us, step by step, generation by generation. Now, before we write these parts off as completely useless, there's something important to understand. Some of them still serve hidden purposes. They're not as powerful as they once were, but they haven't gone totally silent. Take the appendix. For a long time, doctors thought it was nothing more than a dangerous extra piece of plumbing, but modern research suggests it may actually act as a safe house for good bacteria, helping to repopulate your gut after an illness. Not essential, but not entirely worthless either. The tailbone is another example. Sure, it's the tiny stump of a tail we no longer use for balance, but without it, many of the muscles that hold up your pelvic floor wouldn't have a solid anchor point. It's like the rusty old foundation of a building. Maybe not pretty, but still holding things together. And what about goosebumps? They might not scare away predators anymore, but they still reveal something fascinating: the deep connection between our emotions and our bodies. Fear, excitement, even music can trigger those tiny muscles to contract. They're a biological reminder that we are emotional creatures, wired to respond to the world in ways that go far beyond logic. So while these features may seem pointless on the surface, they're more like echoes, quiet but not entirely gone, still adding their own small notes to the symphony of the human body. So where does that leave us today? Surrounded by the ghosts of our evolutionary past, but also standing right in the middle of evolution's ongoing story. We're not finished products, and we never will be. The human body is always a work in progress, constantly being tested by the environment, reshaped by our habits, and refined by the slow hand of natural selection. And that raises a fascinating question. Which of these body parts will we lose next? Will wisdom teeth disappear entirely in a few thousand years? Will the pinky toe shrink down until it's gone? Or will new useless parts emerge as our lifestyles change and our bodies adapt? Every answer is a reminder that evolution isn't something that happened in the past. It's happening right now, in you, in me, in every person alive today. And those little quirks of anatomy we sometimes complain about are proof that we're carrying the entire history of humanity inside of us. So maybe instead of calling them useless, we should see them for what they really are: hidden signatures of our survival, proof of where we came from, and clues to where we're going next. One day, far in the future, humans might look back at our bodies the same way we look at ancient fossils. They might laugh at the idea that we ever struggled with wisdom teeth, or that we carried around an appendix that could suddenly burst. What feels normal to us now could look like an outdated design to them. And that's the beauty of it. Our so-called flaws are really evidence that we're still evolving. Every leftover organ, every strange reflex, Every muscle that no longer serves its original purpose is a reminder that we are part of a much bigger story, one that stretches millions of years into the past and millions more into the future. So the next time you notice goosebumps on your arms or bump your pinky toe on the edge of the bed, don't just think of them as annoyances. Think of them as echoes of survival, whispers from ancestors who lived, adapted, and passed on the body that you now carry. The human body is not perfect. It's not even finished. And that's exactly what makes it so fascinating. Which body part do you think will lose first? Let me know in the comments. And remember, every time you look in the mirror, you're staring at a living time machine. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you want curious questions answered, have a look at some of our other videos.